Hey team, Timbo here. Before we launch into another beneficial episode of the Small Business Big Marketing Show, I just want to share a couple of marketing thoughts with you. Are you aware of the concept of marketing touchpoints? Like a touchpoint is any opportunity someone has to come into contact with your business. I think of them as moments of truth, opportunities for customers to form an opinion, good or bad, about you and your business. Tangible touchpoints include things like your logo, brochures, ads, website, signage, stationery, social media presence, all that kind of stuff. And here's the thing. All your marketing touchpoints should look as though they are coming from the same songbook. This consistency helps you build trust and familiarity with your precious customers. And that's where Design Crowd steps in. Design Crowd is a marketplace that enables you to crowdsource all your touchpoint design needs from designers around the world who are ready right now to make your business look amazing. So head over to designcrowd.com/Timbo and grab up to $100 off your first design project. Hey, speaking of mission-critical business concepts, you do realise you are who Google says you are, right? I mean, if you aren't ranking for key search terms on page 1 of the world's biggest search engine, then it kind of raises the question, does your business exist? Like, is there a page 2 or page 3 of Google? I don't know. I've never been there. So if you're not ranking well, then I suggest contacting WebCentral, who are specialists at getting your business found online. Not only can they build you a beautiful website, but they will optimize it so you appear in the search results every time. Head over to webcentral.com.au/Timbo and check out their SEO booster pack after the show. Today's guest did the interview in her pyjamas. Why? Because she can. She's a true entrepreneur, starting a business to help put herself through university, only to then systemise it so that today it runs for the most part without her. And who doesn't want a piece of that?
Well, I said, welcome to a small business marketing show, where successful small business owners share their souls to take your marketing straight to the lead. Now, here's your host, Mr. Timbo Reid.
And welcome back to another episode of Australia's #1 marketing show called the Small Business Big Marketing Show. I am your host, Timbo Reid. You, so much more importantly, you're a motivated business owner and you are ready to crank out some great marketing to build that beautiful business of yours into the empire it deserves to be, which is exactly what we do around here. We don't do anything more than that. So well done for showing up, ready to implement. Hey, big show today. Joyce Ong, PJs and all, yes, she was in a PJs, is the founder of the Young Musicians Academy. And Joyce shares her secret sauce on how she's created a business employing 35 music teachers that paid her way through university and then some. Plus, I share part 2 of a 4-part series I've started last week, in which I share some highly clickable email subject lines that will get more of your emails opened more often. And that's a good thing, I would have to think. And I think you'd agree. As per usual, there is marketing GOLD dripping from the ceiling over here at Small Business Big Marketing's HQ. So let's get stuck right in. Coming up after this fireside chat, I share another 5 highly clickable email subject lines. But first, let's get stuck into today's guest. And I've got to thank long-time listener Russ Porteous from Firewise for suggesting I track down Joyce Ong of the Young Musicians Academy for an interview. Thanks, Russ. In an email to me a few weeks ago, he said, and I quote, I met Joyce at the July Business Blueprint Conference. Business Blueprint. Old Dale Beaumont, a long-time friend of the show as well. And she was one of the highlights of the 4 days. Joyce is a true entrepreneur, starting a business to help put herself through university, only to systemise the business so that today it runs for the most part without her. At that point, Russ had my attention. He then goes on to say, I don't know Joyce's full story, but I think given her personality, it's one we'd all love to hear. By systemising her business, Joyce has been able to remove herself from it and follow other passions. Well, end quote. I am interested at that point. So I tracked Joyce down and here is the interview. It's a great one. She takes us behind the scenes of how she's done it. Here's what you're going to discover. How to hire people smarter than you without relying on their resume. She's got a 3D process to creating systems. She's got a global outsourcing strategy. She's got people everywhere, all over the world. She's created a high-converting website, and there's a couple of really simple tricks you're going to learn that you can implement just based on what she's done. And she's using letterbox drops, bit of old-school stuff here, letterbox drops, newsletters, school newsletters, joint ventures. They've all worked to help grow a business. Now, I started off by asking Joyce a question that completely tripped her up. Who is your all-time favourite pop star?
All-time favourite pop star? I don't think I have an all-time favourite pop star. When you were saying...
How come?
I'm not sure. I've got a lot of people that I like. But when you said, who's your all-time favourite, I was thinking in my head, composer, and I was thinking Debussy, because I'm classically trained. So,
right.
I love Debussy's music.
Who was on your Wonderwall? You know that that song by, help me here, the English band, they sang Wonderwall, Oasis.
Yeah.
Apparently a Wonderwall is that wall you have growing up in your bedroom that has all the posters on it, right?
Yeah.
Who was on yours?
I didn't have posters up on my wall.
Gee. Okay.
Yeah, I was a strange kid.
Okay. I think we'll move on from that question.
I think so too.
Now, Joyce, why did you start Young Musicians Academy?
I didn't do it on purpose, actually.
An accident. A successful business by accident.
Yeah. So I've loved piano teaching, and I started piano teaching when I was 14, I think, with my friends, and then it kind of just grew from there, and just expanded because I was doing what I loved, and yeah.
Wow. So at the age of 14, you start teaching piano. You go, people are giving me money for this. This is pretty cool.
I know. I was like, oh, $10. Whoa.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, per lesson. So that was great.
Can you remember the point where you have turned it into more of a business? Got a website, registered it, got an ABN?
Did all those things. So what happened was started off teaching my friends and that, and then other people started asking me to do more lessons, so I started teaching more piano. And then before you know it, I was like, all my afternoons was full, and I was teaching a whole day on Saturday. And then I was like, oh, I should look for some daytime work because I'm free from, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. doing nothing every day. So
How old are you at this point?
At this point, probably 19, 20.
Okay, so you'd finished school at this point and your days are free.
Yeah.
And you're getting serious about it.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, I've got to find a school. Okay, if I can get some daytime work at a school, that'd be great. So I approached a couple of primary schools. I got knocked back a few times, but then I kept persisting, I guess. Mm-hmm. And got into a school in Brisbane, in Barden, and started teaching there. So I think this was back in 2010 now. Mm-hmm. I started working at that school. I had 5 students. I was so excited to have 5 students. And by the end of the year, I had 80.
Wow.
So then I was getting really burnt out. I'm like, oh, I've got to hire someone now to take off some of my workload. So I approached my oldest piano student at the time. She was 18 and doing grade 8 piano. I was like, oh, can I teach you how to teach? Would you be interested in doing some teaching? And she was all for it. And 2011, hired her as my first piano teacher. And we went from there. And from then it's kind of grown so officially, I guess, 2010 and then 2011.
Wrap some. I normally get people to wrap numbers around their business later on, but let's go. Where is it at now? Young Musicians Academy. Where's it at?
Cool. So now we are. I don't actually know how many students exactly. 300 and something.
Yeah.
300 and something students across 3 schools and home lessons and Skype lessons across Australia. And also about 30 people on staff, as well as a whole bunch of VAs doing outsourcing.
Wow, so much to talk about. Okay, so now we know we are talking about a sizable business. Let's go back.
Really.
Well, it's pretty good. What do you mean not really? You're disappointed with it?
No, definitely not. No, I'm not.
You're just being humble.
It's my baby. It's my baby.
Yeah, correct. So tell me about burnout. Let's go back to burnout when you've tapped your other friend on the shoulder and said, "Can I teach you to teach?"
Yeah.
Were you literally burnt out, or were you just going, "Oh, this is getting a bit hard"?
Oh, I was burnt out because, I'd be teaching before school lessons as well, because the school that I was working at said, okay, I want you guys to teach prep to grade 2 during school time. And so the grade 3s to grade 6s don't miss out on class time too much. I want you to teach them before school and after school. So I'd start at school at 7 o'clock in the morning and teach through to 7 or 8 p.m. at night, and do that for 5 days a week and then half of Saturday. So if you just do that on repeat, everything else kind of just falls down. Like I didn't have a life at one point. And actually I had like a whole bunch of overdue invoices and admin stuff to do to catch up on, just because I was teaching so much that I didn't have time to do all the other business stuff.
How did you manage with all the other business stuff? Because I speak to a lot of business owners who get into something because they love it, and then they realise that, oh, hang on, there's all these other things that come along with running a business.
So at that point, I didn't have any business experience, like any formal business experience, I guess. I was just kind of doing things the way I thought they should be done. And then I went on Google. I was like, business help. Yeah. Anyway, I came across some awesome programs in Sydney, and I joined up to the programs. And then from there, I kind of started going to Sydney every couple of months for the conferences, learning about business and upskilling myself. And then from there, hiring teachers and putting all the systems and processes in place, things like that.
So what was the game changer for you, Joyce? Because now am I right in saying you've pretty much removed yourself from Young Musicians Academy?
Yeah, so probably...
It's running without you?
Yes, it's running without me. So probably from last year, I kind of started, removing myself out. And this year I've pretty much been in Sydney the whole time. I've been up to Brisbane 2 or 3 times this year just to check on everything. Yeah.
Because the whole business is still Brisbane-based, yeah? You got 3 schools there, all your at-home stuff's around Brisbane.
Yeah, and we have a studio there as well.
Wow.
In Ashgrove, yeah.
So how do you do that? I spoke to a fellow recently, a podiatrist in Adelaide, who's done exactly the same thing. He was seeing clients at midnight. He was,
Whoa.
he's booked out 3 months in advance, which all sounds really good. We're making lots of money and everyone's happy, but he was miserable. And he put systems in place to extract himself from the business.
Yeah.
This is what you did?
Yes, definitely. So
Okay.
systems and processes.
How? It all sounds so easy. How do you do that?
Write down everything that everybody does. Start with a brain dump. So think about everything that you do in one day. So open up a spreadsheet. I love Google, so open up a Google Sheet and just write down the heading, task, and write down everything you do in the day. So check emails, check payments, and everything that you do. You'll find there's like hundreds and hundreds of things that you do. And then, you can write down different columns as well. So all the stuff that you do you have to be doing it? If you do, then just stick your name in that column, or else you can put like delegate or delete, and you can just totally wipe out the things.
Delegate, delete.
I forget what book that's from. What book is that from?
I don't know, but it's nice. I like it. I'll take it. It's from the Tim Reid book.
Yeah, so do a task audit and think of the things that you have to be doing, and if you don't have to be doing them, delegate them, and if you don't want to delegate them, just delete them off your list of stuff to do.
Love it. Is it really? That is what a wonderful place to start. Are you a control freak by nature?
No.
Okay.
Don't think so.
Wow. So you just went like as if, but boy, there's a lot of people listening who are.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do they do? They've just got to be tougher than you.
No, they can do whatever they want, but if they want a business that is going to grow and be, bigger than just themselves, eventually they're going to have to, pass something on to someone. I'm not saying to go, okay, here, have an assistant, assistant, go do everything. Just do like one task at a time. Train someone up, just give them one task. If they do that well, give them another task, and then go take small steps, take baby steps.
So let's just go through do, delegate or delete. It'd be easier to just go, I should do that. Oh, I really should do that. No one else can do that better than I can. So you've kind of got to be pretty...
That's a good saying that you just said. No one can do that better than I can.
Well, tell me more.
I thought like that at the start, and to an extent, I can understand why everyone thinks like that, because you're the boss of the business, right? So you're doing everything your way. But what I've found is, the staff I've hired, especially the ones for a specific role, like for a business manager or whatever, for an accounting person, like they can do stuff way better than I can. Plus, they have a lot more time as well, especially if their sole job is to be the finance person. They're going to have so much more attention to detail than you are, because you're doing everything else. And so one of the things is, like, I try to hire people that are smarter than me all the time. I always want to hire people that are smarter than me and they can do things better than I can, because that way you grow your business faster as well. They come up with ideas that you wouldn't even have thought of, and
How do you figure out if someone's smarter than you before you hire them?
Well, you can do an interview process, I guess.
Yeah.
I tend to know, I guess within the first 10 minutes of an interview, I kind of know.
You just know.
I have an intuition, I guess.
It's like, have you read that Malcolm Gladwell book called Blink?
No, I haven't actually. I will write that down to download
Well,
later.
it's one of those classics, some business books, some people would say mine included, you could write in a page, but because, the concept is so beautifully simple. So Malcolm's Blink concept basically says, within a split second whether something's right or wrong. You smell a rat the minute you look someone in the eye. If that person is smelling like a rat, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean that I've made, like, amazing hiring decisions
Of course.
all the time. Like, I've learned from experience as well. So, yeah.
What's your number one tip for hiring? You've hired enough people now.
I don't even look at resumes. Like,
Cool.
I go by, I get their resume. Like, if they sent it in, that's great. But when I interview people, I just talk to them as a person and ask them questions about their personal life as well. So because I think the way that people are in their personal life also reflects in the way they do business and the way they work. Sit down and have a conversation with them. I don't do a formal structured interview with what are your strengths and weaknesses. I did that at one stage.
Yeah.
But then, that all those answers people rehearse. And I want to kind of go with the flow and
under the radar. I was listening to a podcast only yesterday about hiring people, and someone made the comment that a resume is a marketing document. So therefore, you've got to look beyond the resume. Not that there's anything wrong with a marketing document, but we're always going to put our best foot forward on a resume, right?
Like, for example, like one of a couple of our teachers actually. So their resumes are okay. Like, if I just looked at a resume, I wouldn't even hire them. But I met them as people, and they're amazing, amazing people, amazing teachers, great with kids. And even if they don't have, like, a diploma in music or anything, they're still amazing, and they're the best teachers that we've hired. So
yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that an interesting exercise to go back to the people that you've hired and look at their resumes and go, gee, based on your resume, I actually wouldn't have hired you,
Yeah.
You're one of our best staff. That's a really interesting exercise. Going back to your do, delegate or delete, let's talk about delegation, because I think early on in the interview you mentioned you've got a number of virtual assistants. Yeah. How have you gone about employing them? Where are they? What do they do?
Cool. Yeah. So I love outsourcing because I would call myself the laziest person on earth. I like to find the best people to do the tasks that, of course, like I said, are better than me, and they can do the tasks a lot better than I can. So I've hired a lot of people through Upwork.com.
Ah.
It used to be called Odesk, and you pretty much just put up a job description about what you want and who you want and what you expect out of them. And then people send their resumes in, and then you go through the resumes, and then from there you can do Skype meetings with them and give them like a trial run and see how it goes. So I've had people in the Philippines. I've got my admin dude in Africa. Actually, he's really great. He hasn't taken a sick day in 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's good. And I've got a bunch of video editors too. So some in the Philippines and a full-time video editor in the Ukraine too. So this is for my second business, which I started because I've systemised things at school.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, the video is interesting because outsourcing. I have an interest in a business process outsourcing business in the Philippines. Joyce, it's called Cornerstone Business Solutions, and David Warren has been on this show a couple of times in the past year, and so I have a really intimate understanding of all that, and it is amazing when you get it right. What I find interesting about you is that your outsourcing strategy is that you've got people everywhere. You've got people in Africa and the Philippines and I'm guessing in other countries. One of the things Cornerstone, their unique selling proposition is that it's all about teams in one place. Mm-hmm. Is clearly you don't need that.
I guess not.
Yeah. Do your teams talk to each other? Does your fellow in Africa speak to your people in the Philippines, or they wouldn't know each other?
No, they don't actually know each other.
Interesting.
But that's only because they're doing the different businesses, though. Because the Africa guy's doing the music school stuff, and then the Ukraine guy's doing the video stuff. So I talk to them separately. So they don't actually have to talk to each other. I don't actually know what time zones they're both in. So it'll probably be hard to schedule a team meeting.
Well, totally.
But I see how if everyone's based in the Philippines, and a lot of my friends have teams all based in the Philippines, and we chat to each other on Slack, which is like a messaging platform. Mm-hmm. So it's really good to have those team meetings if they're together. Definitely.
Interesting. You've really built a very modern business, I've got to say. Do you love it?
Oh, thanks. It's all by accident. I love it. I love my lifestyle. I love the fact that I got out of bed at 10 a.m. today and I'm still in my pyjamas.
Goodness me.
Yeah.
How rude. I expected you to dress up for this interview. So you are lazy, aren't you? I love it. No, I don't think you are at all. I think you're very harsh on yourself. But you've created this business, so it's running. Tell me about how you interact with a business that you've removed yourself from. Do you have a dashboard that you look at once a day or once a week? Do you meet with what have you got, a general manager?
Mm-hmm. We've got a business manager.
Yep.
Admin girl, finance guy, and then a support guy as well. So
how often do you dip in?
We chat on text whenever we need to, if there's questions that come up. Mm-hmm. We like to be doing a weekly meeting once a week just to do updates and progress and things like that. We also have this program called Asana, which is like a to-do online list that's like a project management thing.
I've heard about Asana. Tell me a bit more about that.
It's literally like a to-do list. Like you can tick off your tasks. So you can create projects. So, for example, finance project is called finance, and then you have follow up on these people and put the people's names in, or these people have asked to pay by credit card. You have different topics like that, and you can just tick them off as you go on. And the thing is, with Asana, you can have like a bunch of people in that to-do list together. So then you can assign people different tasks. So this
sort of a bit like Trello.
Yeah. I think it's simpler than Trello. It's quite simple and easy to use. So it's like task assignments and then due dates you can set as well.
The marketing of Young Musicians Academy, Joyce, I'm guessing has played a good role in getting you all these clients, hundreds and hundreds of clients now. Mm-hmm. And you've got a great website. I've had a good look at your website. And
awesome.
Can you take responsibility for that?
I take responsibility for hiring amazing mentors.
Well, tell me more about that and how it impacted on your website, because your website, the user interface on your website, I would argue is very good. So mentors to website. Yeah.
So I realised that my websites weren't that good. Or it was actually really, really bad before this one came along. So I hired The Collective, this company run by Greg Cassar, and they do digital marketing. And he rebuilt my website from scratch, pretty much. And what you see there now, it's like what he built. And it's not just building the website, but it's all the back end stuff. And he's taught me how to do website as well as Facebook ads and Google AdWords and things like that too.
So going through that process of, there was a point in time, how many years ago was the website really bad?
Oh, pretty recent.
Okay, great.
2 years ago.
Oh, good. I'm getting excited.
That's quite a new website there.
So 2 years ago, despite the fact that the business is going really well, you've had a pretty crook website. You've met Greg, and what was your key learnings? Did you just actually engage him and say, off you go and do it, or did you play an active role in getting it to where it is?
Oh, I played an active role. So his model is to do stuff with you together. So we hop on a call and then, yeah.
What was your big learning for getting a website like that into place?
I don't know if there's one thing. I just know that I couldn't do it myself. Mm-hmm. That's probably the biggest thing, is like I really value, getting the help on the website because I'm not that technical. There's so much involved. Sorry, I don't really know what the big learning is.
That's okay. Well, let me put some words into your mouth. I interviewed a fellow a few weeks ago, Dominic Holland from tow.com.au. It's an online way to book a towing truck, right? Tow truck.
Cool. Awesome.
And it's an awesome website, similar to yours. And his big tip, I guess, probably learning's the wrong word, was to know that most people are coming to your website for one thing. So make that one thing really, really easy for them to get.
Definitely.
Seems pretty obvious, doesn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so because, as soon as you open someone's website, you want to be able to have everything really, really clear, like about what you do. And
so I'm looking at yours now. Right, smack bang in my face. Piano lessons, guitar lessons, violin lessons, singing lessons, other instruments. Bang. That's why I've come to your website.
Yep.
And there's a secondary part to that, which is, you've got a nice offer up the top. Get my 2 free lessons now. So I'm guessing that's a way for you to build your email database.
Yep. And for them to call up and sign up for their lessons.
Bang.
Yeah.
Job done.
Exactly. Thanks. That was very well explained, Tim.
Sometimes it's hard. I forget it's an audio show. We've got to explain these things. What other marketing has worked in building Young Musicians Academy, Joyce?
I'm pretty traditional in like that. I've done a lot of flyers and paper-based marketing. So
I didn't know you were 73.
Hey, I just turned 30.
Oh, that's funny. So, flyers, hey? Well, you're a local business.
Yeah, exactly. So we've done flyers, and we've done like in school newsletters, and also a couple of joint ventures with music schools. Music shops around the area too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we went to a couple of music stores and said, "Oh, hey, if you guys sell an instrument, can we also give away a couple of free lessons with that instrument purchase so that your customers get more value and we get to meet some more customers too?" Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, I just think the whole partnership thing is so clever.
Yeah.
Again, it gives you that leverage of, one to many, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Let's talk old school. I don't think I've talked school newsletters of recent episodes. I think in episode 3 I might have touched on it. This is episode 330 something. But tell me, with a newsletter, like a school newsletter, and you might not know, you might not be this intimately involved in the business anymore, but, when I hear about people doing letterbox drops or doing school newsletters, it's okay, but it's what you put in there. I'm guessing you have a compelling offer each time you go out with whether it be old school marketing or new school. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, it's pretty much 1 or 2 free lessons.
Right. Bang.
Like no catches.
No catches.
Yeah.
Come and try.
Exactly.
Well, I'm finding interviewing you, it's also obvious, right? But getting to obvious, getting to simple can sometimes be a journey. So from day one, did you go, we'll just offer 2 free lessons? Or did something have to give in order for you to realise that's the most obvious offer we should make?
I think I learned that from all the business stuff that I learned down in Sydney in the courses.
Yeah, right.
So that's where I got it from.
Yeah. You're a sponge.
I hope so. I'd like to be.
Yeah.
I like to learn everything.
Good on you.
And kind of try and apply it to, just to make life better, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of us we can read books and not apply. And I say it till I'm blue in the face. Is that action is where the magic is.
Exactly.
Are you a considered person, or do you see an idea and go, "Oh, let's do that. Let's do it."
Somewhere in the middle, maybe.
Get a sore bum sitting on the fence.
Yeah, sometimes. So sometimes I do take ages to make a decision.
Do you?
Do you know the DISC profile?
Vaguely. Is it a personality profiling tool?
Yeah, it's personality profile. But I'm an S, so I don't make decisions that quickly. I'm kind of a slow decision maker.
Yeah, right.
However, like it depends. Like if I have a decision, I'll think about it for a while, then I'll actually make a decision. And when I do, I'll go and do it. So I won't just sit around on the fence for ages.
Interesting. Is that about being slow? Is that about considering all the different options, or is it fear that it might be the wrong decision, or what is that about? Do you know?
I'm just considering the options, but then, if you make a decision, you just go for it. There is no wrong decision. It's just a decision that you make. You choose it and then you go for it. And no matter what the outcome is, you know that you've you just tried it, and not everything is going to succeed, but, you just tried it. And then if you fail, just get up and try something else. That's all.
Yeah, nice. Well, I think you've done a great job at the ripe old age of 30.
Oh, thanks. We didn't even finish talking about systems yet.
What have I missed? I was just reflecting on that as I was secretly wrapping up the interview. But you tell me what we've talked about: delegate, delete. Right?
Yeah.
We've covered outsourcing. Tell me more. Like, we all want to know.
Yeah, so from that outsourcing stuff, if you've hired someone overseas, chances are English isn't their first language. They're going to need instructions on how to do stuff. And even if they're not overseas and outsourced, your team are going to need instructions on how to do stuff. So it's so important to get stuff out of your brain. I've been telling this to my partner, actually. Get stuff out of your brain and written down on paper so that other people can understand your thoughts as well. So I use Google Sites, which is kind of like a little intranet with different pages on how to do things. It's like a big instruction manual. It's got like how to create a timetable for piano lessons, how to how to write an invoice. It's got pretty much everything on how to do anything that you'd need to do. So that Tim, you could come into the business and you could read the instructions and you could take over for someone if they were sick, or anyone could.
a bit more detail on Google Sites. These are not existing sites that have how to take a piano lesson. You create the content.
That's right.
Within a Google site.
So if you have a Gmail address, you have you get Google Drive and Google Docs. Another one of those Google things is called Google Sites. So it's pretty much like a blank template. So you can call it whatever you want, and then you can add as many pages as you want, and you can create it from scratch pretty much. Yeah, and you can make each page a how-to do this, how to do that.
Okay. So this is great because all of a sudden when someone leaves, and people leave businesses, that happens, doesn't it? All that information, all that IP is sitting there for the next person to pick up where they left off.
Yeah, and then the training process is so much faster as well because everything's documented there, and then you don't have a bunch of new people coming up to you going, how do I do this? How do I do this? They can just all refer to the Google Sites and follow the flow charts and things like that.
That's a pro tip.
Awesome. Good.
Have I missed anything else? It's always a scary question for an interviewer. What else can you tell us? And then the guest just goes on. I reckon you've nailed it, Joyce.
Awesome.
You're doing great things. So your next business is a video business, right?
Yes, I've started out last year.
You started it last year, okay. And you're applying this. Are you applying everything you learnt in bringing Young Musicians Academy to life into this new business?
Yes, plus everything I've learnt since then as well, which is great.
So does that mean that you can pretty much go into any business now and turn it around?
That's my plan for the future.
Is it?
Yeah, I'd like to. After my video business, I'll work on this first for a bit, and then I'll see where life takes me.
What do you look when you look at a business? Do you need to have an interest in it now, or are you like, you just need to find something that's under-marketed or has poor processes and procedures?
Oh, I like to do things that I enjoy. I can't do things like, I don't know. I only do things that I enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
That's probably why everything's so creative, like the music school and photography and videos and.
Well, speaking of being creative, who's your favourite pop star?
Oh my gosh. Not answering that one.
Wow. See, I thought I'd give you a whole half an hour to get that kind of sorted.
It's been half an hour.
Well, it has been half an hour. 28, well, nearly half an hour. Time goes quick when you're talking to me, apparently.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah. Good on you, Joyce. Love your work.
Thank you, Tim. Thanks for having me.
Well, there you go, team. Joyce Ong of the Young Musicians Academy. You can check them out over at ymacademy.com.au. Hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to share my top 3 attention grabbers from that interview in a minute, as well as 5 highly clickable email subject lines. Plenty to come, but first, here's a word about a couple of businesses that want to help build that beautiful business of yours into the empire it deserves to be. Support for this show comes from WebCentral, who love building small businesses' websites that not only look great, but get you more customers. I asked Verity Ma, their Chief Marketing Officer, to share her top 3 business website must-haves that are simply non-negotiable.
The 3 must-haves for an effective website, I think, starts with a clear call to action. So when you get a visitor to that website, what do you want them to do? Also, the website needs to be mobile friendly because there's a huge growth in the number of visitors coming from their mobile, searching while they're out and about. And then finally, a professional design that reflects your brand. Because if you think about it, the first time that a potential client or customer interacts with your brand is on your website, they're going to have an immediate view of what your website does and whether you're trustworthy.
WebCentral, helping you build trust online fast. Check out webcentral.com.au/Timbo for exclusive listener offers. The Small Business Big Marketing Show is also grateful for the support of Aussie-owned business DesignCrowd.com, the world's #1 custom design marketplace where it's beautifully simple and cheap. I love cheap. To get a design you love, guaranteed. I asked founder Alec Lynch what problems Design Crowd solved for us small business owners.
Buying design has traditionally been an expensive process, a slow process, and a risky process. Design Crowd's crowdsourcing solution fixes those problems.
DesignCrowd.com, a faster, cheaper, more creative way to get a custom logo, graphic, or print design for your business. For a special VIP offer that can save you up to $100 on your first design, visit designcrowd.com/Timbo. Righto, my top 3 attention grabbers from my chat with PJ Waring, Joyce Ong of the Young Musicians Academy. Attention grabber number 1. I loved what she said when it came to doing what she loved. She said exactly, my business just grew and expanded because I was doing what I loved. So much in that. Hey, if you're not doing what you love and your business isn't growing, I would suggest having a good hard long look at what you're doing. You with me? Don't lose faith. Just kind of ask yourself some tough questions. What am I going to do that I will love? Is it probably a good question to ask. Attention grabber number 2. Systems. Boy, how often have we heard that in recent episodes? Most recently with podiatrist Daniel Gibbs in episode 326. But I'm just hearing this more and more. I loved Joyce's approach to systems and her stepped process of do a brain dump of everything you do and then have 3 columns. Do, delegate, or delete. And just do that once and for all and get what you can get off your plate. And if that's kind of really still bamboozling, you know what I mean? Bamboozling you. I still can't say it. Bamboozling you. Go to growthhackaccelerator.com.au. That's a live event I'm speaking at later in September with a couple of other speakers, and one of them will be talking about the importance of systems. Attention grabber number 3. Joyce's compelling offer of 2 free lessons, no catches, is highly compelling. It's front and centre of her website. It's her way of making a very kind gesture to new clients and customers, at the same time getting their contact details and having an ongoing conversation with them. That's what grabbed my attention. I'd love to know what grabbed your attention. Tweet me at Timbo Reid, R-E-I-D. Even better, leave a comment in the show notes. smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/328. It's now time for part 2 of Insanely Clickable Email Subject Lines. Oh, yes. Love a big opening. Another big opening. Now, if you missed part 1, go back and have a listen to last week's episode where I shared the first 5 strategies around writing clickable email subject lines. But in case you didn't realise it, a key factor in whether your emails get opened or not depends to a really large extent on the catchiness of your email subject line. In fact, I saw a stat recently over at HubSpot that you're likely to see an 18.7% decrease in email open rates when the word newsletter is used in the subject line. No surprise there, hey? I'm not exactly sitting by my inbox going, oh, I can't wait till the next newsletter comes in. I don't like newsletters. Anyway, I digress. So here's 5 more styles of subject lines with examples that will make sure your emails get opened. And another big thank you to Emily Dowdle, who put these together over at optinmonster.com. So, number 6, because we covered the first 5 in last week's episode, remember? You with me? Number 6 is pose a question in your email subject line. Questions create a dialogue that can make your emails feel friendly and conversational. Something like, are you ready to charge what you're worth? Or another one, and I've used that one, another one I used which got a great open rate was simply the 2 words, over it, ? It's actually when I did that interview with David Warren from Cornerstone, and he talked about how he was almost completely overrunning his business but turned it around through outsourcing. So that got a good open rate. Okay, strategy number 7, use urgency. No one likes to be left behind, team. If you regularly have promotions or encourage readers to buy quickly, then a subject line like limited time offer or last chance or seats are limited, they work, right? Because people don't want to get left behind. Email subject line strategy number 8, be mysterious. Yeah. So you write an email subject line that will cause your reader to wonder, what's that about? They'll be thinking. So you could do something like, do you make this expensive mistake? That's one I've used recently. Another one, neglected secrets of selling high-ticket items, right? So they're just getting that mysterious thing happening and people are going, oh, geez, I need to know what that's about. Click, and they've opened the email. Strategy number 9, be beneficial. Deal in benefits, not features. See, a user will only spend her precious time on emails that benefit her, right? So know your customer and learn what they want. Emphasise the benefit over the feature. That's just good marketing 101 practice. So, for example, 5 ways to pay off your mortgage within a year. Hey, going to open that? That's beneficial. And the last one today, number 10, use a testimonial. You see, social proof, which works every time, doesn't have to be contained to the sales pages, right? Instead, or your website pages. Instead, highlight a well-known or influential customer and share their story. So, like, for example, and this is a true story, how Grant made $3 million after hearing me speak. It's a true story that I sent out in an email once, many moons ago, but it worked a treat. Got opened a lot. So go and implement them. Go and try them. If they work, let me know. If they don't work, let me know as well. And look out next week for part 3. Well, that almost wraps up another episode of the Small Business Big Marketing Show. I've got some great interviews coming up. Got a fellow who escaped the cubicle, love a cubicle escapee, and bought a fruit shop up Byron Bay Way. Why wouldn't you? Well, that fruit shop has now morphed into a highly successful health food franchise nationally. And I also chat with a young San Francisco-based app developer that's making gazillions. Yeah. And he's a young bloke too, very young. I love what I do, getting to go under the hood with motivated and successful business owners from around the world and find out what makes them tick so you can build a better business. Hey, do you remember that fireside chat I had with celebrity personal trainer Michelle Bridges, who had some very in-your-face advice for anyone prone to the P word, procrastination? She called it JFDI.
It works for everything. It works for putting your clothes away. It works for getting your car serviced. It works for having to go and talk to your bank manager. It works for getting up off the couch and going and doing some exercise. It just works for everything. It works for everything. JFDI.
And is it really as simple as just f***ing doing it? Is it?
It really is that simple. It's like, this is for all the overthinkers, all the procrastinators, everybody that suffers by analysis, by paralysis. It's just like, you know, get over it. Just get up and do it. Just shut up and do it.
Oh, I love that. You can hear my full interview with Michelle Bridges, plus hundreds more, over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, or you can subscribe free on iTunes. You know what I got to say to that? JFDI. Be sure to check out designcrowd.com/Timbo. They're an ideal way to get any marketing touch point designed for that beautiful business of yours. Plus, there's an exclusive listener offer waiting for you that can save you up to $100. So you got to love that. And remember, you are who Google says you are, guys. So be sure to visit webcentral.com.au/Timbo if you'd like a custom website built and managed for you. Or maybe you'd just like to have your current one brought into the 21st century. If you loved the Small Business Big Marketing Show, then go and pay it forward, please, by letting another business owner know about it. Just send them the link. That's all you got to do. Say, hey, listen to this. It's a good show. Maybe choose someone who could do with a little bit of marketing love, because there is plenty more where that came from. Until next week, I'm Timbo Reid, always have been, always will be. Thanks for listening to the Small Business Big Marketing Show. May your marketing be the best marketing. Bye for now.